Yay!
Yay!
Hey, everybody. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Shirley. Look it. I know we did it.
Hello.
How are you, ladies?
Fighting a headache?
Um,
I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's Wednesday, so um, I am going to give it just a second, and then we can go through our topics today. But so to let everybody know that's watching, there's been some changes that have been worked on in the background, and so the Wednesday show has now become the Wednesday Wives show. So Sheila, Kathy, and I are all truckers' wives, and Sheila and I are at home. Kathy is currently on the truck with her hubby, but she spends a lot of time at home as well. So we are going to take this and make this the Wednesday Wives show. I'm going
Sheila,
to
can you hear me?
Yes.
Is it on my end?
Is what on your
Hello?
end? Kathy, go back out and come back in. There she is.
Wait, I think we have connection. All right, maybe. Kathy, are you there, honey?
I'm doing good. How about you?
All right. Yay. So I just wanted to take a minute, and like I said, I just wanted to let everyone know that the Wednesday show is now the Wednesday Wives show. We are going to try and address issues that trucker wives face at home, or even if they're on the truck. And thank you, Cindy. I do see your comment, and Catherine is with us as well. I know we have some viewers with us today, so we're very glad you joined us. I'm just going to take us a few minutes to introduce ourselves. So I'll start. My name's Catherine Pennycoff. I know some of you already know me. I did take a hiatus for a couple months, and I am back now, and I am very happy and excited to see where we can take the Wednesday show with you all. So I'm not a trucker's wife yet, okay? So
Close enough.
I'm working on
Close enough.
it. It's a work in process. So I have been with my truck driver for 8 years. We've been engaged for 3 years. And we were working on a wedding date, except then I got breast cancer, so that got put on hold. So I should be done with everything in July, so maybe I can start working on that again. But so yeah, for 8 years we've been in our relationship. How about you guys?
Husband has been driving he's driven 2 different times. Once in the early 90s, and then just recently the last company he was with was for 6 years. We've been together for over 20 years.
Yay.
Yeah. And then it was almost 7 years after we met that we got married.
Okay.
I've been around trucking my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
My parents both drove truck, my grandfather, my uncles. So it's kind of in my blood.
Sounds like it. It sure do sound like it. Kathy,
Yeah,
how about you, honey? How long have you and Chris been a hot item?
We have 29, 30 years knowing each other.
Wow.
We've been married for 11 years, got divorced, now we're back together. But, you know, he's been a truck driver for 21 years.
Okay.
So I'm so proud of his accomplishments.
Yeah. Well, and I forgot about that. So Ron's been driving for almost 30 years, and he was pretty convinced he was not going to have a family or meet the one. And I am that person. Like, I am the one. And he totally needed me. So I believe that. So what we want to do is to start off this new chapter of the Wednesday show, because we are talking Truckers' Wives. We want to try and keep that, the topics are around the Truckers' Wives and things that we might be going through. And so the very first topic that I have for you guys is the 7 truths of being a trucker's wife. And a lot of them are I feel like they're pretty common sense. If you know trucking, if you know anything about anything in trucking, there are certain truths when it comes to being a trucker's wife. And we're going to talk through some of those with you guys this week. And we're going to probably do a second segment next week. I don't know how many we'll get done today, but I want to definitely talk through that. And so that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to start off the very obvious, very, very obvious one is there's a lot of alone time. And I know when Ron and I first started our relationship, our piddly 8 years in comparison to 20 and 29 years, Kathy and Sheila. I had to figure out how to battle that loneliness. And, I know my alone time, I spend, I keep the lights on, I pay the bills, I raise the kids, I read. And when I do have my own personal time, I read books. Like, what do you guys do to get around that loneliness? Like, how do you battle that?
Oh my goodness. I've been thinking about that here a lot because I know I was on a Saturday show and with Angie, and I sat there and I said, you know what? I live a boring life.
No, I don't believe that.
All I do is sit there at home, unless Fridays is go pay bills, go buy groceries. I'm there with my 3 boys, which they're all grown, but they live at home, which is fine. I don't care. They keep me company. So I got a switch for my bedroom. So, I'm going to stay home in May. And I think I'm going to get my boys in there and get a few new games and, start playing games with them.
That's nice. That's good. Catherine Johnson, I know you have a little baby at home, and she says that she's constantly on her toes. So I am sure that keeps you very busy, and it's, it takes up some of that loneliness. It battles some of that for you. So I'm glad that, and I hope everybody's doing really well. And Angela, I showed this earlier, but I'm going to show it again. So, whoops. My apologies, guys. There we go. Angie said she spends time with the boys, the boys being her doggos. And I just, just find something that can distract you from that loneliness, I think, is a big part of it. Sheila, what works for you?
A lot of times it's, well, for me right now, with him being home every night and on the weekends, it's not so bad. But before it was, if I got tired of looking at the 4 walls, I'd go for a drive.
Oh.
Just to clear my head and, or hang out with some friends, or something to keep me occupied.
Mm-hmm.
So
that sounds like a good idea. Drive.
Yeah, it helped quite a bit,
For sure.
I do love doing that, getting in my pickup truck and just turning the radio up on country, or I switch it up. I switch, country. I switch to the old rock and roll station, and it just It does. It clears your mind.
Mhm.
And I think that's what I'm going to be doing that in May.
That's a good idea. That really is a good idea. So out behind my house, Angie says, blast up the music and some country roads and just roll with it. I agree. Now, out behind my house, I have a fire pit, and there's, I don't want to call it a gazebo, but it kind of looks like a gazebo, and it has swings on it and and hammock and a couple of hammocks, and it's built around the fire pit, so it's really nice to sit out there in the evenings and just. We live in a really quiet development, so it's just nice to sit out there and just be able to be alone and, just let things go. That works for me. And, kind of delving into the second topic there about, that alone time, it's hard being away from our guys. It's not easy, and it does hurt, and we do miss them. So I know I've battled with depression, and I didn't know how to deal with it at first. It was very difficult for me to be away from him and, be depressed or have anxiety. How do you deal with that? I don't know that I've come up with a good answer for this one, to be honest.
I don't think there's a right answer.
Right?
It depends on the person and how, if they've gotten help to deal with that depression.
Mm-hmm.
And they know how. But for somebody that's new, that doesn't know how to deal with it, for me, it was a lot of journaling, and my use of essential oils.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know a lot of people will journal their feelings out, just to get them out, and they're not bottled up inside.
Mm-hmm. Amber said,
Yeah.
you call your friends.
Uh-huh.
That is a good answer right there. I'm gonna get doing that a lot more. If I'm having a bad day, I think I'm just gonna pick up my cell phone and just call one of you ladies. And, because I think we do need that.
Mm-hmm. And it's, I wish I would have had this group when I met Ron. So I love Ron. I'm very much in love with him, but after he moved up here, he was like, you're never going to make it. And I was like, what? And he's like, as a trucker's wife, you're not going to make it. And I was like, watch me, challenge accepted. And 8 years later, and I think 8 years is good, but I know that's not true for a lot of relationships, especially ones where you're not together as much as you want to be. Amber had a couple other good ideas, and some of these ideas. Now, I would love to do this, Amber, have blanket forts, but once I get on the floor, there's no getting me off of it. But she also said coloring. I do color. I love to color. It passes the time for me.
You do that under the blanket fort.
Oh my God, I love color. I love sitting there and coloring a coloring book. I love that. I know I guess that's supposed to be a kid thing, but can I be that kid just for that one moment coloring that coloring book?
I mean, I never admitted to being an adult, so
why grow up?
Why do it?
It's hard.
It is hard, and it's hard being away from the people we love, especially I know for me, 17 months into cancer, Ron's been my rock, and not having him here with me, dagger in the chest sometimes. But I there's so many ways we can.
And Catherine, for that, you are so strong for going through all that.
I try.
My hat's off to you, girl. I don't know if I could be that strong.
Not always, and that's okay. But I preach this all the time. You guys know this. Like, you can be not okay and you can cry. Just don't unpack and stay there. You know,
Mhm.
like, I have my days. Yesterday, I laid in the bed for 2 hours because I was like, my body said, nope, not today. And I was like, but I have things to do. You just have to recognize it. And even, if I didn't have cancer, it's okay to have a mental day where you just like stay in bed in your jammies. If that's what you need, then do it.
Done that before.
Yeah. So,
I do that a lot.
right. Yeah, it's challenging. Everything about being a trucker's wife at home is very challenging. One of the other challenges is scheduling. So scheduling plans, making plans, it's virtually impossible. I have it a little easier because I know Ron's schedule pretty much the week before, and I know he's only at home on Fridays and Saturdays, so I try to make things on Fridays or Saturdays. But that's a regional driver, right? He's out Sunday to Thursday, home Friday and Saturday. So like I have it pretty easy, but that's not the case for everybody. And I know, like, trying to make plans around his schedule and around my appointments, it's like I get cross-eyed. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go do this today because I'm not going to sit at home and twiddle my thumbs anymore. So, like, I do a lot. I have started to try and put myself out there. I've gotten very involved with my church, working on a cancer support group. So like I do a lot of things without him anymore because that's the nature of the beast, right? So how has scheduling and doing things like that affected your social lives, guys? Because I want to know.
I got a friend that lives down the road from me, and she's got grandkids, and she will tell me, "Hey, we're going to be doing, this and this. I want you and Chris there." And I'm like, I have to let her know because she forgets. I'm like, okay, I need a well enough notice where I can get him home. But, I'm sorry if you don't make it, but, I'll be there. But, so it's rough.
I'm going to change your layout here, guys. Sorry. Did that help? Is that better? No, we can't see Kathy's.
No, we can't see Kathy's face.
I know. I was like,
the logo's blocking it.
Is that better?
There we go.
That's better.
Now we can all see us. Okay. That was bothering me.
It for us, when he was driving out, when he was over the road, it was okay. So we want to do this, and we planned it like 6 months in advance.
Right.
Okay, we're going to go on vacation, and this is where we're going. These are the dates. So he would work his schedule around that.
Right.
I mean, but if it was a short notice one, it was like the spur of the moment thing that we would do. And I mean, it is hard. It's hard to do that.
So it's funny. Lori and I were talking the other day, when I do get to set a wedding date, hopefully soon, I want to make sure that all my drivers out there, Angie and Lori and Chris and all my friends know far in advance so they can come to Pennsylvania, because I'm not doing this without you guys. But I have to make sure there's a lot of time, because I know that it has to be written into the books far in advance.
Yeah.
So,
and sometimes that can be difficult to do, depending on what you have to do.
Oh, for sure. So with scheduling, has anything like, I had a question written down, like, what plans have you made with your significant other that trucking has impacted, affected, or changed? I mean, I'm sure there's a billion.
Oh God. I can't even think right now. There probably been times where me and Chris has this thing called Murphy's Law. And it's like, it always strikes.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So that is rough.
It is. It's hard because, we've had times where we've had plans and he, he's supposed to be home on a certain day and he gets home like 2 days before that. And we're like, what are we going to do? Because he's only home for so many days. And technically he got home 2 days early, which means he would have to go like right in the middle of whatever we had planned.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, what do we do?
Exactly. There's been times where we would schedule to do something and he gives me a date that he's going to come home in well in advance. And I'm like counting down the days.
Right.
And so sometimes I'll be wanting to be spontaneous and say, okay, well, and I'll be talking to him, hey, maybe we need to go and do this that weekend. And I need to stop doing that and just say when he's home, let's go do it. Because if I try to schedule something, it don't happen.
Mm-hmm.
You almost have to do that.
I'm just going to pause that for a minute. One of our guests, viewers, asked what the topic is. And so we're talking about the Wednesday show has become the Wednesday Wife Show, Patricia, and we are discussing the 7 truths to being a trucker's wife and what it looks like for us at home, or even like I know Kathy's on the truck today or lately, but I know she's going to be going home. So we're just trying to talk through some of the things that affect us and what it's like to be on our end of the trucking industry, how it looks from our point of view. I know right now we're talking about scheduling challenges and things. How does trucking impact our social lives? How does it impact other things? So for me, sharing the news that I had breast cancer over the phone was not exactly how I wanted to tell Ron, but guess what? That's what I did because he wasn't here. I mean, he was here eventually and we worked through it, but that's probably one of the harder things that we've had to deal with. Him not being here for chemo, him not being here for radiation. He was here for my mastectomy. He was only here for 2 days and then he had to go. So it is, and Lori said it very plainly. It's hard being a wife.
Mm-hmm.
Like what she said.
I agree.
Yes, and it takes a strong woman to be a trucker's wife.
Right, it does. And these are the reasons why. Like, this is why it's hard. Communication, that's our next topic. And communication is hard when they're here. Like, when they're home, it's hard. And it's twice as hard when they're gone. And one of Ron's biggest challenges is staying involved and being involved with things while he's away. So when Chloe has chorus concerts or, therapy appointments or whatever the case may be, even my appointments, like how do you keep them involved from a distance? It's hard. That's a hard thing to do, I think.
It is. It's a lot of phone calls. I know a lot, when he was out, we would talk several times a day.
That's it, Auntie.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
And you don't want to burden them with the negative. And, you don't want them to know that, hey, this is going on here at the house or this is going on because you're trying to deal with it. But yet you need someone's input to help figure out how to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
So It's hard. It really is.
It
Kind of at a catch. Do you tell them or do you not tell them?
Right. And then especially as somebody like with me, sometimes, not all the time, sometimes I will wake up with a panic attack. And he's like, well, why don't you call me and talk to me? Baby, it's in the middle of the night. You're sleeping. I don't want to bother you.
Yep.
And it's rough. So
It is.
what do you do? You
Exactly.
you wait.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's part. So Ron's thing is, um, he he gets bored, and he'll call me, and this is like one of my struggles. Like he'll call me and just be like talking to talk because he's bored, and I'm like I'm cleaning the living room, I'm cleaning up after the new puppy, or I'm doing the dishes, or I'm folding laundry, or I'm doing the mom stuff that needs to be done every day, and I'm like, I gotta go. I sometimes think like he gets upset because I'm not at beck and call, I guess. Like I don't want to say it that way, but it kind of feels that way. So it's challenging for me because I'm not just waiting for my phone to ring. I'm got stuff to do.
Yeah, I think with me on my part with that, um, you know, Chris has a couple of buddies that he talks to.
Mhm.
So when he gets bored, I think they're the ones he pretty much calls and talks to when he's driving down the road. And also, I think that helps him on that part, that way he won't be hearing me saying, well, baby, I'm doing this or I'm doing that. So I think it kind of helps that they have buddies of their own that they can talk to too.
Yeah. I guess I'm his person, which is good. I mean, I appreciate being his person, but like it's challenging, and I never ever like I would never ever say, well, I don't have time for you. Like that's just not part of who I am.
Right.
I have learned that headsets are amazing things.
hmm
And Angie, come on, show.
Yeah.
Angie said having people who understand the lifestyle on both ends, that is an amazing bonus. Like I knew nothing about the trucking industry until I met Ron. What I've learned is if you're not in the industry, you don't know.
I'm
That's how
still learning.
right?
I'm still learning. I have
A
my
lot has
moments where
changed.
I get so frustrated and all so upset. Like, you told him you was coming home this day. Blah, blah. So, yeah.
Like people,
Yeah.
so I know people are like, well, do you ever get to see him? Well, yeah. Oh, well, when is he going to be home? Sometime. And before he had this job, I don't know. I was like, I didn't know. He'll be here when he gets here, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Lori said, our drivers keep America going. So as significant others or spouses, we should keep them going. And she's absolutely right. And I know Ron recently has been struggling with being away from home and having significant scheduling challenges at work, which affect at home, especially with Easter coming up. So it's, and I know it's not just challenging for us, but it's challenging for them too. And, they have to deal with, like Ron, when he does his pickups, they're never ready. They're never ready. They have 3 people that are supposed to make sure these customers are ready and they're not ready. So he has so much frustration. And then, 95 on a good day is bad. So like I-95 on a good day is bad. So, he drives around Washington, he drives around Baltimore, and then by the time he gets to where he's going, he's aggravated, frustrated, and calls me. Well, sounding board, here I am.
Yeah, we all make good sounding boards.
And that's part of being a trucker's wife.
I just used to go, okay, do you feel better now that you vented? And he's like, I do.
I get that, but there is one state that I will not talk to him at all until he gets to the other side of, and then I'll talk to him and he can vent. But that's Atlanta,
Oh,
and I can't deal with that. And I'll listen to it, because I've seen how bad it is. When you get out of Atlanta, call me and we can talk.
Mona said, this is a lifestyle people don't understand. At first, when you have a boyfriend or girlfriend that drives, it's exciting, but the reality of the road hits home and then they don't know what to do or how to feel. And that's true. I went through that when Ron moved up here. So we kind of did things backwards in our relationship, but we worked through it. But it was a hard thing. And like I said, I wish I would have had this group then, because it would have made things so much better for me. And I mean, he was as patient as they could come, right, as he could be. He was amazing, but there was a lot of challenges and it took some doing, but we are very sturdy in our relationship now, and I can't imagine my life without him. Like, I would rather have Ron on a bad day than not have him in my life at all. Like, that's how I feel about it. Lori also said they miss the holidays, birthdays, anniversaries, birth of a child, and so much more. And yes, they do. Ron's mom, when he was over the road before we met, his mom would be like, yeah, he never came home. He would be gone for 6 weeks at a time, come home for 2 days and then leave again. And like, they put his stuff in storage. And that's what he did until he met me, and I messed up his world, but okay. I like to think I added sparkle.
There you go.
Right. And my thing on the birthdays, and it works for me and Chris. It might not work for everybody, but it works for me and Chris. February, my oldest son's birthday. We would try to pick a weekend around his birthday for him to come home, and that's when we celebrate. Mm-hmm. May, I have 2 of them in May. So that weekend part is kind of challenging on them too, but we get it done.
Yeah.
And we've talked to the boys and they're like, hey, we're fine with that. It's okay. So, I mean, like I said, it might not work for everybody, but it works for us.
I want to mention it's time you don't get back, and it is true. And Ron and I have been through some serious health related issues, and he had a massive heart attack and died, and they brought him back, and now I'm going through breast cancer. So like, we have been through the ringer, and I guess that's what made us stronger. But it's funny, you were talking about the birthdays. I was thinking about it, and my birthday is July 21st. My daughter's is the 22nd. So 2 birthdays in July. And then Jacob's birthday is September 8th, and Ron's birthday is September 10th. So, so we grouped we try to do group birthdays because it's just easier.
Yeah.
One of the things Mona suggested too is it's better today because now we have FaceTime and we have Skype and we have all those things that make being connected to them so much easier. And I do love that. I love being able to face call Ron. And I always say, you miss my face, like kind of jokingly, but I miss his face. Like, talk all the time on the phone, but I'm like, I want to see your face. And he's like, no, you don't. I need to save. And I'm like, I don't care. I like your show.
I've done that with Chris when I was home, and we're always talking on the phone off and on during the day, and when I know he stopped for that night, that's when I'll do a FaceTime with him. I'm like, okay,
sure. Definitely don't do it while you're driving. We are not suggesting that.
No. It's when he's stopped for the night, and I will FaceTime him, and I'm like, I just want to see what you look like. I just want to see you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's not all the time. But I have them moments where I've got to see his face. Once I see his face, I'm good. I'm okay.
Yep.
That's it. What else did I have on that topic? We talked a little bit about we have the ability to FaceTime them, Skype them. How do you combat and Kathy, I know you've experienced this. I know Lori's experienced it. I know Ange has experienced it, where you have those areas where there's just no service. There's no reception. Ron, when he goes to Maine, it's a nightmare.
I'm sure.
So, what do you do those times? And I know there was one time, Ron was out of service for 3 days at the before we ever met in person and he was over the road, he would go to Brownsville, Texas. And for 3 days, I didn't hear from him, which kind of segues into our next topic, which is the worry is real. So like, how do you combat those drop calls, the service outages, or, bad weather that might affect your communications? What do you do in those instances?
Well, I haven't gone 3 days, like you have. I know when we had the phone service before we got this one, he would go through, I don't know what part of Kentucky, but I can't remember. But he would lose service, and then you wouldn't hear from him again until he got way out of that service. And that drove me back. Because it's like, is he okay? Is he okay? But there have been times where I don't know if he was mad at me or if he was maybe having a man day where he just didn't want to talk to nobody, and I get that.
Mm-hmm.
And when it gets to that, I will call Robo up and say, hey, have you heard from him? And if Robo tells me, yeah, he's okay, he's fine,
Mm-hmm.
there's my relief. And I'm like, okay, I'll leave him alone until he gets ready to call me. But it's rough.
It is. And it's scary. Like, so those 3 days, so story time, right? I'll try to keep it brief, but Ron was in Brownsville, like at the southernmost point of Texas, of the United States in Texas. And there's a border crossing there. And he would have to go through a checkpoint. And what happened was there were refugees, I guess, for lack of a better word, that crawled up into the the eave of his truck, like,
Right.
and hitched a ride, and he didn't know they were up there. And when they took him through the X-ray, they're like, pull over. And he was actually in prison for 3 days while he waited for his boss to work things out. And it was scary, and he was beat. And
oh my God, I don't know. Oh, Lord.
terrifying time. And when he finally did call me, his boss had actually driven down to Brownsville, picked him, they got him out and everything. And the people that were up there had actually confessed and said no, that he had nothing to do with it, which I'm pretty sure if you were smuggling humans, you were going to get paid more than $200. So he had like $200 in his wallet. And they brought him home. He had to be in the hospital then, but stuff like that does happen. And it's scary. And when I don't hear from him after a certain amount of time, I start to stress. And because now it's, we talk, he pretty much is in contact with me at all times. And if I don't hear from him, I'm like, okay. And then, like Life 360, it's an amazing tool.
A stalker.
Yeah. Him all the time. I'm like, where you is? So the worry is definitely real. And there's so many reasons. It's not like truck stops are sketchy anymore. Obviously the world in and of itself is a scary place anymore. You got haters out there. They may not like bald people that day. I don't know, but things happen, and I didn't know how to handle that worry at first. Again, this was at the beginning. Now all those things we talked about earlier, the blanket forts and the coloring, like puppies help.
I don't think the worrying
that helps.
I don't think the worrying ever stops and never goes away.
No. I was an adult and still worried about my dad because he drove up until he passed away. Yeah. And so it never stops. You worry constantly, no matter what. You try not to.
Yeah.
You don't want that thought in your head all the time. It's always in the back of your head going, I'm still here, But you try not to worry so much, but it's hard to not do.
Mm-hmm. I like Lori's comment. It said, haters will always hate love, just have to move on with life. I know.
Yeah.
Ron doesn't, so he will do a lot to diminish my worry, just because he doesn't want me to stress, especially with everything going on with me. So like he tries to, you know, I'm at my first stop today. Like I just got to my first stop. They're loading my truck. I'm going to be leaving in 10. Like he's very good about keeping me in the loop to his day. But again, sometimes I'm like, yeah, but my day's busy. Got to go. But yeah, he's very good about it. And I know it's not just for us, right? We're not the only ones that worry. I know our drivers worry about us too. So
Yep.
Yeah, they do.
they do. And I know like it's being a trucker's wife is just challenging. And again, if you're not in the industry, if you don't know anything about it, then you know, you can't pass judgment because and they're like things not to say to a trucker's wife. Oh, you don't like do you guys how do you guys have a relationship if you don't see each other? Like duh. I get frustrated with stuff like that because it's like you know, what would you do if your husband had to stay you know, go on a business trip? Is it any different? I used to go on business trips when I worked. I would go up to Wisconsin for 3 or 4 days and go to conferences. And, you know, that's why we have a phone. That's why we have FaceTime. That's why we have Skype. And sometimes I won't call him, but I'll be laying in bed thinking about him. So I'll write, I send myself an email to send him in the morning a message, and I write him love letters. And that keeps everything alive. It helps him know that I still have the same feelings today as I did 8 years ago, and stronger and better. And I've had people say, well, do you trust him? That gets me every time. Well, yeah, I trust him. Why would you ask me that? Just because he's here?
You know, the ones that are, well, how can you trust him if he's out there in your home? It's like, if you don't have a relationship built on trust, then you have a problem.
Right. Exactly. What Sheila said. Oh, Lori, that's super cute. James would leave her love notes all over the house. I love that idea. That's a great idea. Oh, I'm stealing it. I am totally going to steal that idea.
Maybe I need to do that. You know, while mom's still on the truck, is put love notes all over the truck for him to find when I go home in May.
Yes. I do that.
That's a good idea.
We got ideas, ladies. The first time I met Ron was at the TA in Buckhorn, which is about 20 minutes from my house. And it was the first time I met him in person. So first of all, truck drivers, when someone says, which truck is yours? Do not tell them it's the white truck in the middle row. It doesn't help. Like, we need specifics, okay? All right. So anyway, I met him.
Oh my God, I have a story on that. It ain't got nothing to do with truckers.
But he was here for 3 days, and we went out to dinner with the kids, and he came to the house and, you know, just spent some time with us. And I mean, I knew immediately when I saw him the first time, my heart went, oh, there you are. And I just knew he was the one. So the day he was leaving, I wasn't supposed to actually go to the truck stop to see him leave, but because he asked me not to, because it was hard for him. And so I was like, whatever, watch me. So I picked up a card, and I wrote him a love letter, and I put the card in, like, I went to see him. I stashed it, like, he wasn't looking, he was doing his walk around, and I stashed the card somewhere in his truck. I don't even remember where I put it. And like 3 days later, he calls me and he's like, you're making this really hard. And I'm like, Didn't need to. And then 3 months later, he moved up here. So, and the rest is history.
With me, it's the small things.
Right?
It's the small things that Chris does for me and I do for him and everything. And when he'll give me cards and everything. He's done it when I've been out here with him, and I'll sit there and I'll just cry like a baby.
Aw.
Um,
It is. It makes a huge difference, and I love that all these ideas that all the comment. I'm kind of keeping an eye on the comments, and I'm not putting them all up, but everybody's really excited about the different ideas we shared. So I'm just really proud of us ladies, because I feel like these are really going to help other women that maybe, like, I started out not knowing anything about trucking, and look at me today. I know all the hours of service, and I know all the different trucks. It's important. You know, Ron likes his freight shakers. So
I love the Kenworth.
yeah, I mean, if Ron had his pick, it would be a Peep, but a freight shaker is a close second. So this is how we want this show to go, for our viewers. This is what we want. We want to have interactions with you. We want to share those stories and bring more support to you, because it is not easy. This is not an easy life. It's not. And it takes, you know, of course, it would be nice for everyone to have an 8 to 5 job and come home every night and not work weekends and not work holidays, but that's not reality. And our reality is much harder than those people's. And yeah, I'm going to say it, it's harder than that. And you adapt. I have changed so much in 8 years. Like, I am so much changed from this, because I didn't think at the beginning that I was strong enough, and until Ron challenged me, and I was like, watch me. And here I am doing it.
Challenge accepted. And look at her now.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, I need like sparkles.
Yep, there you go.
Well, Catherine, I was, you know, when me and Chris got back together, he was already a truck driver for a good while.
Right.
He got his license when we were still married,
Uh-huh.
and then he became a truck driver after we got divorced. So when we got back together, in 2015, it's been a learning experience. So I get it, I understand it, and I'm still learning. I'm still learning.
I don't think that'll ever stop, because there's so many things that really affect our drivers that in return affect us. So I'm not sure who the Facebook user is, but they said it takes a strong woman to be a trucker's wife. Amen to that. And for me, sorry, my finger got ahead of me there, but I try to stay abreast of topics in the news that may be affecting either me or him. And I know Angela had asked us to maybe cover a topic during our broadcast in the trucker industry. And Jordan, thank you for letting us know. So Facebook user Jordan, I don't know why your name isn't showing, but hey.
It was before, because she's had other comments show up.
Yeah, I don't know. But thanks for joining us. And what I was going to talk about today, I didn't have a whole lot of time to research, because I was very anxious about it. So here's my take on covering news topics in the trucking industry. I'll do my best. Not a truck driver, but I also, I talk to Ron about stuff in the news that I see, and I know, like, down in Texas at one of the border crossings, there's a big protest happening. The governor of Texas has had state troopers doing really intense inspections on trucks coming back over the border, and it is causing backups and people are not getting produce. So I know customers are canceling orders. It's going to probably, I know there's like mile long backups down there, and I forget the name of the border crossing, but
Or Texas.
yes, thank you.
You're
That's
welcome.
it. That's the one. That's the one. So I talked to Ron briefly about it, and like he used to go to Texas all the time. He'd either be in Laredo or he'd be in Brownsville. And there's no love lost there. We don't miss it. He was ready to set up a mailbox. But the reason for doing those inspections is to prevent smuggling of drugs, to prevent smuggling of humans. And on the flip side, it's state troopers doing it, and they're doing full-on inspections, and it was really causing a tie-up. And I get the need for the inspections, and I also get the people in Texas saying, I want my strawberries or avocados, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, you were talking about Ron being, having somebody.
I haven't heard. This is new to me. I guess I haven't been staying on top of it.
And my husband had the same thing down in Pharr, Texas happen.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody climbed up into the opening on the top, but he heard it. He felt the truck rock, and he called the police.
Good for him.
So once he got loaded, because he was waiting for something to come across the border for his trailer, the next checkpoint, the dog hit on the scent of the person that they had pulled out of there, and he had a report number and everything, and said, "Here, you can call him." But he did. He felt the truck rock.
Oh my gosh!
And they weren't loading anything at the time, and he was just laying down in the back. So yeah,
it happens.
It happens.
Mm-hmm. And then another time, there's so many another time. Ron was stabbed. He was stabbed in a truck stop. So stuff happens, and it's a scary world out there. And I just hope that these shows going forward will help other truckers' wives combat some of the loneliness, will combat some of the challenges that they see. And I mean, now some of my challenges are going to be different than somebody else's. I know earlier I had seen Catherine on here, Catherine Johnson, and she has a little tiny baby, and I have a teenager that hates me. So everybody's life is different, but the Divas, we want to help you, and we want to get you through that, those feelings of loneliness. You don't have to be alone. We are all here for you. And, Lori said it best, being a wife will make you or break you if you're not strong enough to handle it. Mm-hmm. She's absolutely right. Yep. And I can't stress enough the need to, so I'm going to do it, guys. I'm going to preach it. My favorite words all start with E: encourage, empower, and educate. Encourage, empower, educate. We want to educate you. We want to empower you. We want to, which one did I miss? Encourage, empower, educate. Yeah. Educate. Empower you. We want to empower you so that you don't, you can be there for your driver. So you can still have a life.
Mm-hmm. You're not alone in this. We've all been through this. We're all going through this or whatever, So we're all here for you.
And it's doable. And
exactly. Reach out to any one of us.
Oops. My computer
We're always here.
Sideways. Okay. Yeah. So don't be afraid to reach out to us at any time.
Am I freezing up?
No.
No.
You're all good.
Okay.
Yep. You're fine, Kathy. And I say this, like, not to highlight what I've been through, but if Ron and I can get through him dying and me getting breast cancer, and not an easy breast cancer. I've been at this for 17 months, guys. 17 months of battling breast cancer is exhausting and I'm tired of it, but it's my fight and I have to do it. If I don't do it, like, my other option is to let it beat me, and that's pretty much not going to happen. So, so, if I can do it, you guys can too. And we are here to build you guys up. And, trucking wives, truckers' wives don't have to be alone. You don't have to be alone in this. When you want to, and trust me, when you want to vent, guess what? You're probably not the only one venting. You know how many days, how many times a day, or even a week, and during the week, I curse truck driving. Like, you're not the only one. We all been there. Truck driving dogs. I do that a lot. And I stomp my feet and I kick and scream, and then I get over it. And I'm like, but that's what he does. He's done it since he was 18. That's when he started learning.
Yeah, Chris will tell me, why are you getting mad at me? And I'm like, I'm not getting mad at you. I'm sorry, I'm not getting mad at you. I'm just mad at the situation.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Been there several times, done that.
Yeah. It's challenging, and like I said, I'm really excited for this show to keep growing and helping other women or significant others. There's guys at home too. So that's what this show is all about, supporting you guys. And next week we are going to complete our truths. So I made an outline, guys, look. So, and Lori said, so admins and moderators in the Divas group, we vent to each other all the time. We do. And if we're having a bad day, sorry guys, my dog is Stinky. I should have named him Stinky. Whew. Anyway.
You love him.
I do. Hashtag dog mom. I lost train of thought. He stinks. But anyway, we talk to each other about whatever kind of day we're having. If we're having a crap day, I'm on the horn. Who can talk to me? I'm tired of cancer and I don't want to do this anymore. And then Lori yells at me, or Angie yells at me, or Chris yells at me. And they don't let me stay there.
Why pay for a therapist when you can just come vent to us and we'll teach you through it?
And we all have
there
those
you
days.
go.
And we all have those days, and it's okay to have those days.
There you go.
Just don't, like I said, stay there. I preach that all the time.
It's not good to stay there. It's not good for you.
It is almost 2. I just wanted to see if anybody had any questions for the three of us, or had any other comments. I feel like today was a success, ladies. I think it went really well. And I'm very excited for next week's show to continue this conversation. It went well. And if you guys, also to our viewers, if you guys have any ideas or topics that you want to see us talk about, please let us know. We are always open to suggestions, and we always look for ideas. We look for those ideas, and and we are very receptive to them. So please, if you have something, I know we've talked about, excuse me, I'm having issues with my brain. I have an MRI tomorrow, and sometimes my voice doesn't want to cooperate. So what I wanted to say was, we have talked about sharing recipes. We have talked about sharing crafts. I am not the crafty one, so don't ask me for that. I draw nice little stick figures and I do the crafting to my mom. and my
Neither am I.
But we want to be able to have interactive shows like that. So get those thinking caps on. We love you guys, and we are so glad that you spent an hour of your day with us, and we look to do it again next week. So everybody, I hope you have a great end of rest of your week.
Yep.
And we will see you next Wednesday. All
Yay.
right, love you guys. Bye. Okay. End.
Bye.